Hello and welcome. My name is Hatem Awawi. I am a medical student at An-Najah National University. And today I'm gonna show you how the atrial septum forms. What is the atrial septum? Atrial septum, also called interatrial septum, is a wall of tissue that separates the right and left atria of the heart. Atrial septum forms around day 30 of development in the embryo. The heart should look like this. This is actually half of the heart, which its roof was removed, so I can show you how it looked like. Okay, this is called the common atrium. This will be soon the right atrium, and this part will be the left atrium. Both are separated by atrial septum that will form in this area. Formation of septum occurs in several stages. The first is development of septum primum. Septum primum is a crescent-shaped piece of tissue forming initial divider between right and left atria. The opening that remains is called ostium primum. During fetal development, this opening allows the blood to be shunted from right atrium to left atrium. As the septum primum grows, the ostium primum progressively narrows. Before the ostium primum is completely occluded, a second opening is called ostium secundum that begins to form in septum primum in its posterior part by cell death that happens in this region. The ostium secundum allows continued shunting of blood from right atrium to the left. Okay, now to the right of septum primum we have the septum secundum that began to form. This thick muscular structure initially takes on the same crescent shape as septum primum, except that it originates anteriorly. It starts growing from this part, which is called endocardial cushion, whereas the septum primum originates posteriorly. Okay? As the septum secundum grows, it leaves a small opening called the foramen ovale. The foramen ovale is continuous with ostium secundum, this part, okay, again providing for continued shunting of blood from the right atrium to the left atrium. Okay, now the ostium secundum progressively enlarges and the size of septum primum diminishes. The septum primum is nothing more than a small flap that covers the foramen ovale on its left side. The flap tissue is called the valve of foramen ovale. This blue fragment now is called the valve of foramen ovale, which was formed by septum primum. It opens and closes in response to pressure gradient between left and right atrium. When the pressure is greater in the right atrium, okay, the valve opens. This valve opens like this, okay. When the pressure is greater in the left atrium, the valve closes like this, okay. Because the lungs are non-functional in fetal life, the pressure in pulmonary circulation is greater in this part, is greater than that of the left atrium. Okay. The right atrium is generally under higher pressure than the left atrium, and the valve of foramen ovale is normally open. So in the fetal life, this valve, okay, and the foramen ovale is normally open. At birth, there is a reversal in the pressure gradient between the atria, resulting in functional closure of valve of foramen ovale, like this. Foramen ovale closes. Okay. Permanent anatomical closure of foramen ovale occurs with time in normal infants. Inappropriate closure of foramen ovale results in patent foramen ovale, which is like this, and that allows shunting of blood from the right atrium to the left atrium. Okay, when the interatrial septum fails to develop properly, atrial septal defect occurs, which is a common malformation of the heart. Okay, and there is no appropriate closure in this part of the atrium. So this was a very simple demonstration how the atrial septum forms in the heart of the embryo. This process occurs around day 30-31 of fetal life, that allows to divide between the right atrium and left atrium and to form this septum.